Hello, friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back. Today we have Astrea here in the bottom right, spawning as our blue Protoss, playing for Team Alpha X, of course. And in the top left of a Babylon, it's Dark. Is that his own portrait? I think it is. I often find it difficult to see who's in the portrait, but I do believe that this is his own little portrait that got made after he played in a BlizzCon, or perhaps after he won a BlizzCon, of course. Did he win a BlizzCon? Yeah, he did win a BlizzCon. So, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I keep forgetting who won BlizzCon. That's so long ago since we've last had a BlizzCon. He might have actually won the last one, where he beat Raynor in the finals. Because I think the one that Raynor ended up winning was not I can't even recall. Oh, well, it doesn't matter either. We have Astrea versus Dark over here, and that's an interesting match, because both players are different than the other boys. You know, they're just a little bit odd. Astrea likes to play... what is this? Hello? What is this? I don't think I've ever seen Dark speak to a foreigner before. Not ping. Ah, because the blocking has been too good. That's actually... That is a very cool compliment. That is a very cool compliment. Astrea has been doing some nice probe control here. So for the people that are completely unaware, with your probe, you can right-click a mineral patch, and when that probe is busy mining, the drone will be bounced away. It will go somewhere else. So what you do is you right-click, use the stop command, right-click, stop command, right-click, stop command, just at a very, very high pace. That way, you're constantly starting the animation of starting to mine, and no one can mine from that mineral patch. However, the Zerg player does the same thing at the same time. So you have two players right-clicking a mineral patch at a very, very high pace. And usually the person with better ping just wins that battle again and again. And I guess they're playing on the Korean server, because I do know that Astrea lives in, I believe it's California, so the west coast of America. And that means that often one game will be played on Korea and the next game on NA West. So on the servers, that is. So Dark there was impressed by his ability to right-click a mineral patch at a very high pace cross-server. Very cool. I think it's the first time I've seen Dark give someone a compliment that is a foreigner like that in-game. He's not very talkative against foreigners usually, because he doesn't know that many foreigners. In general, I don't think he's that talkative, but just cool to see. Astrea finally getting the recognition he deserves. His probe control is the best. What I was gonna say before, though, is that both players tend to play StarCraft a little different than most other dudes. And as I say that, of course, we have a standard Oracle opener going out of Astrea. And there goes my point, down the drain. Not great. Not too happy with that, all right? I'm not happy with that at all. Second gate is being thrown down here as well as a bunch of links now start. Metabolic boost finishes up at a very decent timing, 3:29 I think that was. A little bit earlier than we see some of the European Zergs do. They like to have it finish at like 3:32. Dark is a player that tends to pull into gas, so a little bit faster than the other Zergs. Double Spore as well, interesting position on Spore here on the third, look at that. This is a zoning Spore, so he knows his queen. This basically shows that he knows his queen control is good enough. He's always going to be in this general position. Because if he's out of position, that could have some real bad consequences for these drones, right? This left side is completely undefended by the Spore. So he's very confident in his ability here. That's what that Spore positioning shows. This one's also quite far to the right. Once again, queen positioning going to be vital. This is a really fast layer, and knowing Dark, this could be a lot of things, but it definitely could be a Queen Nidus build here. Oh, it's actually going to be slightly out of position. We'll lose two workers. Spore immediately repositions as well. Oracle takes a lot of hull damage, though. A lot of it. 25 HP remaining. Shields are now recharging. I think this might be the Nidus build that he's played a crap ton as of late. With such a fast layer, you need to do something with it, right? We don't have a Rotorn yet. We still have queen production coming in here, as 4 more drones are being produced right now. Let's take a look. Yep, there we go. It is the Nidus build indeed. Layer timing, very indicative of that. Blink starts. Now, I don't believe that the build orders here match up very well for Dark. This is a 4-gate blink pre-forge. What is this guy doing? And these gateways were fast as well, right? These are just some quick old gateways. There is no battery yet. What is this dude doing? Go mine, buddy. What is he stuck? Oh, come on. Get out of here. What? What is it? I've never seen this in my life. He just doesn't want to work. He's pretending hard. What is this guy doing? Pull him out of there. Pull him out of it. I feel like Astrea has been trying to fix this for a while, and as a result might not have scouted properly. It's going to see a lot of links here. Has one battery on the way in the third base. There's no battery on the way in the natural, which actually could be kind of nice to have. Force now goes down. Massive supply block though for Dark. Building 6 Overlords while you're Nidusing is obviously not the ideal move. Nidus goes down in the main base as well. Oracles will need to fly over to deal with that. 2 Oracles would have been enough to activate. It's going to play it safe and use 3. It's just bad though, because it wastes more energy than you really need to. I would love to see a small little warp in here in the main base as well. Oracle's now moving towards the natural. Stasis ward is in position. Double batteries being thrown down. Nidus once again goes up in the main base. Can these Oracles still deal with this? 3 Stalkers being warped in at a slow warp in pylon. Probes being pulled off the line here. Oh no, what a terrible way to go. If this Nidus finishes and the Queens pop out, that could be huge. Queens not going to pop out. Do not quite trust it. The triple Stalker warp in is going to be enough. This walling in the natural has been proper. Blink now finishes up, and with the battery as backup, I do believe that Astrea is in a position where he's pretty much held at this point. He's up 14 workers. Has cannons everywhere. The only thing we're missing is the start of an upgrade. But I mean, look at how little surface area these links have. How many batteries there are as well. There's 2 batteries here. Super battery is halfway on the recharge here. On that cooldown. Hydra then now gets thrown down. Like, this is desperation Dark. He's gonna go into Lurkers most likely. It's one of his favorite moves when he's really far behind. Is to go into Lurker, stabilize the game, and then outplay your opponent in a longer game. This is looking dire, my friends. This is a good attack, though. Stalkers are getting caught here. Oracle slightly out of position. One will go down. One will go down. Double cybernetic score in the natural. I wouldn't mind seeing Astrea take a couple of extra gases here. Just going up to 6 gas. And either rushing into Storm or Colossus. I think could be a very good move to make. This Nidus network makes absolutely no sense over here. I'm fairly surprised to see it. I think Astrea is going to be surprised to see it as well. Dark probably just wanted to drop some creep over here, some fat deuces. Say, hey, you ain't getting that forward base. Link flank coming in from the side. This is not enough links quite yet. There's no +1 on these zealots though. This is a lot of queens. Queens and links, I think, together might be capable of taking out this base. And then if the creep spreads far enough, that is annoying because it does delay that forward base for a little while. Look at the cash that Astrea here is banking up. Nidus will get taken out once again. Dark has no creep at home, has more creep tumors on the other side of the map than on his own side of the map, as the queens now pop out defensively. There is still 13 queens. We have Hydras on the way as well as +1 range. And I think Storm here is actually the perfect call. I love Storm in this case so much. I was afraid he was going to play Colossus. Wouldn't have necessarily been terrible. I just think Storm has way more utility against everything in the army here. Like, it's good against Hydras, it's good against Queens, it's good against Lynx. In case of a Bane follow-up, it would have been fantastic. And Storm is also still useful against Lurkers. While Colossus really lose a lot of their value after Lurkers come out. That's not so much the case with Storm. Oh, he's going for both. I don't really like. He just cancelled the Robo Bay. I think that's a good call. Man, I'm not saying that Astrea is making all the correct calls, but he's doing what I would be doing. Now, usually my end result is that I lose, so we'll see if Astrea is also going to be copying that part, or just the good one, just the good parts. Yeah, it's possible. He's like, man, this Harstem guy is not bad, but the final step where he loses every single time is not quite brilliant. Let me just get rid of that one. That would be a good thing to do there. Gases 7 and 8 here are being taken on the fourth base as the infestation pit is on the way. That means we'll be going into a hive. Lurker then has finished up already. That means that Dark is now technically stable. I can't believe that he managed to kind of weasel his way back into this game. He's still fairly far behind, but I think Astrea might be a bit too passive in a way, while not really improving his situation too much. Now, I like the Storm. I like the Immortals, but I think his gases here, for example, are quite late. He's really focusing on getting a lot of cannons, but he's not teching up behind it. So he's setting up for a storm push, which usually doesn't work against lurkers, or at least doesn't work that well, if you don't have many Zealot, Archon, Immortal with it, or especially Immortals. Immortals are very important with storm pushes. So yeah, I'm kind of afraid. In this case, I would almost say is that you still want to get some Stormers out, you want to get Immortals out, but you also really want to quickly tech into Fleet Beacon and second Stargate. I think that is pretty vital. I'm not so sure what all these extra cannons are achieving if you're planning on pushing out soon anyway. I guess there's some safety, you know, to fall back on, but perhaps an air transition while the push out is happening is also not so bad. Ooh, that Templar's gonna die, isn't it? Oh, that was a sweet surround, baby. Oh yeah, 19 kills on that Templar. That was sick. Real nice. I like that. 4 base versus 4 base. We indeed have that Fleet Beacon coming up right now. Of course, max out. 5th base should be on the way. Definitely should be on the way. Templars going for a little journey here towards the far right side. Oh, they're having a blast. What are they doing? Guess helping out against any Lynx or Hydra counts. Is there an observer with this army? There's not. 5th base will get thrown down here. Similar timing as Dark's 5th base. This is a very favorable spot right now that Astrea finds himself in. Has an army that is capable of defending till the end of time. Has an army that is capable of being on the map. Let's not forget about that. He's winning all those tiny little engagements here as 4 Zealots do go in towards the Prism. Could pose a bit of a threat here to the main base, which does not contain any spores. Does not have a burrowed lurker quite yet. Triple Stargates being thrown down. And Viper Lurker, this is where it starts getting a little bit scary for an army like this. You need to be in an aggressive stance. You can't allow being pushed back here. That's the main thing. And what you want to do is you want to kind of shave off outside bases. You're like, oh, yeah, outside base, can you really defend this? I don't think you can. Send 5, 6, 7 Zealots over there while posturing forward with your Immortal Templar army. That is definitely something that has potential. Now, this Nidus Worm here, I guess it's going to be Lurkers that are in it. It's kind of a cute move, honestly. I do like that. I think that's a good move as well. These Zealots are looking for some damage, while simultaneously, yep, there we go. An assault here on that 5th base. And Lurkers are moving in position, but I think with some good target fire on this base, you might still just take it out. And that means we're working at a 10 gas situation soon against 8 gas. For a player that has this many Lurkers and Hydras, which cost a crap ton of gas, I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be real bad for Darker. He's desperately trying to get his +2 range. He's getting his Carapace upgrade as well. He's using the Nidus. Look at the cannon count here at this 5th. This 5th is secure. You know, this is a nuclear way of securing a 5th base, but it works. It's 5 cannons, 2 batteries, 2 more backup cannons, and another backup battery as well. Like, that's significant resources being invested in the defense, but Astrea has those resources, and he can kind of zone out this army for now. He's doing a good job at that as well with those storms. He's got to make sure, though, that his carrier count does rise to the 6 at some point. 6 really is that magic number often that we look at for carriers. Where if you have 6 carriers with +2, like that's a force, you know, that's a good amount of carriers. You can fight into this. If you just fight with 2 or 3, Queens and Hydras can just clear the interceptors, and there's nothing really wrong. Astrea is kind of bleeding resources right now, though. Loses all of his aggression on the other side of the map, and with this slow push that Dark is doing into this position, he's already cleared 4 cannons. He's now going to clear the final of the initial 5. He's like the Pokemon League. You know, you can clear the first 4, and then the Dragon Master Lance comes up. Whoa! Very nice. Great little abduct there. Well, it's not a little abduct. Great long abduct there. And that means that this base is now toast. Luckily, Astrea has already secured a base on the right side, but his trades have been subpar. He needs to start trading a little bit better than this. It's nice that he's up in workers. It's nice that he's going to be up in income as well once he starts saturating the right side base. Ooh, that was a very important feedback. Cannot afford to lose any of those carriers. 5 carriers are now out. 2 more are on the way. But the carriers are down in upgrades. Let's not forget about that. And so far, the thing that Dark has done really well is protecting these Hydras from Storm. Not with an umbrella, but just by microing them well. Oop. Standing Storm a little bit there. Interceptor count is 36. Hydra count is 29. That was a very, very important storm. 3 Hydras go down. A little bit of damage gets dealt on all of them. There's still a bunch of storms available. I think base trading moves here would be very helpful coming out of Astrea, but he's not going for it. Instead, he wants to really just collapse on top of this army. Anti-air has largely disappeared, and at this point, I'm not so sure if you still want all your ground units to engage as well. He does. He's going to break this position while simultaneously losing his 5th base against a Hydra drive-by over here, just spitting on that Nexus. Now, abducts are available. That means that these carriers still need to be somewhat careful, but the spore wall gets broken as well. And now the question perhaps is there enough anti-air that can easily engage into those carriers? And I'm not so sure if that's the case. +2 is about to finish up. 4 more carriers here are coming out, but the bank of Astrea, that is a real pain point here. That is something that worries me. Abducts coming out. That is 1 carrier. 2nd carrier does not get abducted. There's no more abducts available. Here comes a Hydra flank. +2 finishes up for the carriers. But these carriers are pretty much cornered. We'll try to run back to the cannons and the batteries. But 3-4 carriers will end up falling before they ever get there. Final one does get taken out as well. The range on these Hydras is absolutely bananas. Now Zealots coming in clutch. Might be capable of catching those. But once again, Dark making the correct calls here. And falling back just in time. Do not want to fight Hydras against Zealots, obviously. 63 workers against... 67 workers against 64. 4 more Vipers coming out right now. Now, this is often considered by Zerg players a non-viable composition. The Hydra Lurker Viper composition. But I've seen Dark play this against Hero. I've seen him play against Astrea. Against all the best Protosses in the world. And he almost always just wins with it from terrible positions. It allows him to do these slow pushes onto the Protoss. I'm not even sure if carriers are the correct call necessarily. I've been thinking, what if Tempest are coming out first? Is that perhaps better? I do love the carrier personally, but if you're always fighting down one upgrade down, like you have your +2 carriers and your opponent has like 3-2 Hydras, like that's not great. It's the same, it was 2-1 versus just +1 earlier, or even 2-2 versus just +1. Like, you're not gonna get great fights, and with Tempest, you do have that burst damage to break the Lurker lines. You're focusing on something else completely, of course, with Tempest. With Tempest, you're focusing on getting the ground units down and the Vipers. Like, the Lurkers and the Vipers are key. When you have carriers, you're really fighting against the Hydras. All you care about is Hydra. So if you hit a couple of good storms, that could be great, but Astrea has not been hitting those good storms yet. There are 8 carriers out now, and once these carrier numbers grow, oh my god, life can be very tricky. 3 abducts will connect, and 3 carriers also will fall. Only 5-6 Hydras do end up dying. Bunch of Hydras once again on the right side. No, those are Lurkers. No Hydras here at all, and that Lurker army needs... Oh, well, you're gonna need an entire force to deal just with that. These storms are connecting in a big way, though. As the Interceptors stay alive. And now we're working with 5 carriers against 12 Hydras. 19 more Hydras are in production. Don't forget, it is 3-2 against just +2 upgrades. Interceptors need to be out. Zealots coming in here. Just a single Lurker to help out. And here come more Vipers. With those abducts just helping out so much. And I do believe that Dark has done it. He's whittled down the carrier force. And this attack still hasn't really been blunted. These carriers are now trying their best. They're so slow at killing. Look at this. This is 2 carriers going unchecked against Lurks. These Lurks are just sitting there. It's like, stop tickling, guys. This is not funny anymore. Hydra's now moving forward. The way that Dark plays is absolutely phenomenal. This is phenomenal, StarCraft 2. This game was completely over. He was down 15 workers. 15 workers, even bases. Later on in the game, it was 5 or even 6 base against 4. The carrier transition was way faster than it usually was. Just Dark showing that he's the superior player here. There's really not much else to say about it. He just outplayed his opponent. Used the map, used the units the way they're supposed to be used. I don't think there's many other Zergs that could come back from a situation like this. And Dark just does it every single week, again and again and again. Just waiting for that fatal blow right now. There is the chitinous plating on the way, so I guess it's going to be Hydra Lurker into Ultra. It's one of those compositions that you theory craft late night after having 8 beers. You wake up the next day and you see this written down on like a tissue or something. And it's like, oh, no, that does not work. That sounds terrible. But Dark just plays it. Doesn't give a crap. Dark has 8 beers, figures out his strategies and plays them in tournaments. No matter the size of the tournaments. Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. Yeah, there we go. Let me grab my tissue from last night. See what was on there again. Up, boom. Hydra Lurker Ultra Viper. While down a base. This is how we do it. Astrea now. Oh, I love this move. I love this move. I struggled so far to take this base and says, you know what? I'm just going to skip that bad boy. I'm going to go to the top right. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be his 5th base. Don't forget that Dark also has been on relatively low mining. It's not like Dark is super rich. If you can max out here as Astrea, you might still have a chance. I just don't really see him maxing out. That's really a vital thing when you're trying to max out, is that you have the resources to kind of max out. You have the time to max out. Dark is playing this very patient. Almost a bit too patient. But is probably going to go for another attack at some point. Because his style is to defend until he can attack. And he definitely can attack. Here come the storms. Are connecting with a lot of those Hydras. Lurkers are extremely far back. I'm not going to doubt the king though. If he wants those Lurkers there, he can have those Lurkers there. I don't care. Another Abduct. Archon after Archon does get blasted in. He's using these Lurkers almost as tank and just kind of kiting back with the Hydra Ultra. Using Abducts to pick off individual units. It's almost like watching a Terran trying to snipe with the Ghost and then running back, you know, to the tank defense. That's the way that these Vipers are functioning here in this army. We now have a triple Ultra run by towards the far right side. That means that these Hydras can push forward. Well, can they? Not really. There's plenty of storms available for now. The Immortal Archon Zealot is going to defend this Ultra run by, at least believe that it will be capable of doing that. Nidus Network gets thrown down. Are there still queens around somewhere? There's legitimately 0 queens out at the moment. This is one of the things I often notice with Dark as well, is that later on in the game, he'll often just give up his queens for supply that is much more valuable. And he's also only on low worker counts, which means his army is actually massive. That really changes the way that you experience fights as a Protoss. Usually you think, okay, Zerg is maxed out now, but there's still like 25 supplying queens, right? And they're on 85 drones. So really they just have 100 army supply, or even less. The thing with Dark is he right now has 134 army supply, and all of that is, you know, real army supply. It's powerful, it can fight, it can do damage. So you're looking at these fights and there's just army everywhere. It's like, holy crap, Zerg can have so many units, that's crazy. And of course Dark needs to be really careful because he can't lose a single fight. He cannot really remax. But it doesn't really seem to matter much for him. This Ultra is working on this next... It's so sick. This is four capital ships are fighting against one Ultra. Look at this. It's like a countdown. Countdown at 2 times speed. This Ultra is dealing so much damage. This is so silly to watch. Freaking Ultra, there's so much armor. I mean, these are +3. Yeah, they're +2 carriers. Okay, that does not help. Like that they're only +2, but even with +3, it would, you know, it would not have been enough. It's not going to be enough. Like, Hydras are now moving forward. Astrea knows that he's lost. I know that he's lost. Dark knows that Astrea is out as well. There's no more storms available. There's absolutely nothing here. There's no more bases. I think we're going to see a final desperation push, but yeah, I think Astrea is just thinking back of the early games like, holy crap, I was far ahead, right? And he was very far ahead. He had everything going for him until he didn't have it going for him anymore. Dark's a fabulous, phenomenal player. Absolutely phenomenal player. This is going to be it. GG gets called. And Dark wins the game with the insane comeback once again. I feel like every week I watch a Dark game, it's like the comeback of the century, but then it's just the comeback of the week. If you take out all the Dark games though, then yeah, maybe it would have been different. All right, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. The units lost here. 38,000 versus 47k. That is pretty crazy. That's actually pretty crazy. We'll see you next time for a new video. Thanks so much, and bye-bye.